Here are some effective and little-known techniques to help you extend a flight credit if it is set to expire before you will have a chance to use it. You'll want to start by identifying what type of flight credit you have. Airlines typically issue two types: future flight credits and travel certificates. Future flight credits are issued if you cancel your flight or change your flight to a less expensive one, and then the fare difference is given to you as a credit instead of refunded. A future flight credit is non-transferable and therefore must be used by the same traveler it was issued to. They also have a travel by expiration date that is probably 1 year from the date that the credit was issued. This means that the trip must begin by the travel by date, not just be booked by this date. If it is a round-trip ticket that you are booking with this future flight credit, you just need to make sure that the flight's departure is before the travel by date. A future flight credit from a canceled or changed flight is the most common type of flight credit, but you will want to know about the second type, a travel certificate, as it will become relevant later on in this video. Travel certificates are issued if you volunteer to give up your seat on a flight, or if you were bumped from a flight, or sometimes even as a gesture of goodwill if you had a bad experience and complained to the airline about it. Travel certificates can usually be transferred to someone else, and the expiration date is also a book by date, not a travel by date. So you actually have a little bit more time to use the credit and take the flight. You can also get that book by expiration date extended pretty easily. If you use the travel certificate to book a flight that is at least 7 days in advance, and then you cancel that flight within 24 hours of booking it, you will likely receive a new travel certificate with a new expiration date, probably another year into the future. This tactic is based on the Department of Transportation guidelines that any flight, even non-refundable flights, starting, touching down, or ending within the United States can be canceled with no penalty within 24 hours of making the booking. So if you have a travel certificate that is expiring, simply book any flight, cancel that flight, and you get a new travel certificate with a new expiration date. Simple and easy. But if you tried to use this 24-hour cancellation trick with a future flight credit, which is probably the type of credit that you have, you may lose the value of the credit, or you would get the credit back but not have that expiration date extended, and it's still going to expire as planned. So in summary, a travel certificate is superior to future flight credit since travel certificates can be transferred to someone else, so you could sell it or you could book your wife on a flight with it, and also it is quite easy to continuously extend the expiration date. So while it's not so simple, there are still some things that you can do to try to extend a future flight credit if you are not able to use it before the expiration date. Let us know down in the comments how much flight credit you have and with which airline. At the moment I have about $800 to use up with United. The first way you can try to get an extension on your future flight credit would be to simply call the airline and ask. Politely explain to the representative on the phone that you have a future flight credit that is about to expire and that you would like to request an extension. I did this in the past with Delta Airlines and was quite surprised when they very simply said okay and then extended it. To be honest, airlines are a lot more lenient about extending and refunding and rebooking since the pandemic, so yay. One win from that. Explain your situation and maybe consider making it a little bit more dramatic than simply,
I don't want to travel before the expiration date.
if it is appropriate to do so, and then ask for a travel certificate instead. Let them know that even if the expiration date of the travel certificate is the same as the expiration date of your current future flight credit, it would still be beneficial for you to have the travel certificate instead, since you could transfer it to someone else and book a flight for your wife or your daughter or your son. Or you could also take advantage of the fact that it's a book by expiration date as opposed to a travel by expiration date that you usually see with future flight credits. And if this agent will not extend your flight credit expiration date and will not give you a travel certificate instead, keep in mind that travel certificates can be given out by airline agents as a gesture of goodwill. So it means that most airline agents, I hesitate to say most because every airline is different, but there is often a case where an airline agent does have the power to issue, from goodwill, a travel certificate. So if this particular agent on the phone is not willing to give you one, I would hang up and then try calling the airline again, speak to someone else, and repeat steps 1 and 2. You can call new agents as many times as you would like, but eventually, if it's still not working, you can consider moving on to the next option. Make that agent feel terrible. Tear them apart. I'm totally kidding. Please don't do that, ever. But you can consider doing this instead. Try using your future flight credit to book a flight that has a high chance of a schedule change or being canceled by the airline. I would honestly Google most canceled route on United Airlines and then book it to depart from a small airport, like the airport in Ottawa, Canada, during the worst of the winter storm season. If the airline changes the flight time or cancels the flight altogether, every single passenger is entitled to a refund or at the very least a new flight credit with a new expiration date. And I know this is not a foolproof way to get your flight credit extended, but if you have run out of options, honestly, you are either going to let the flight credit expire, or you can take a chance and bet on a flight being canceled or changed, which happens all the time, at which point you will receive a new flight credit with a new expiration date. I recognize that I said usually, maybe, often, might be about 1,000,000 times during this video, and it was annoying to me too, but honestly, every single airline is going to be different and is going to have different rules with their travel certificates and with their future flight credits. So definitely read the fine print of the credit that you have, and maybe there are some additional loopholes that I didn't cover in this video that may apply to your situation. If you enjoy travel tips like this, you might want to check out my link in the description where you can sign up for the Trip Tips newsletter completely free of charge. You'll be joining thousands of other travelers that get hacks from me about twice a month straight to their inbox, and also have the opportunity to ask me specific questions directly. Or you could just subscribe to this YouTube channel for more videos. Or both. Happy travels, and I will see you soon. Bye.